Hi, and welcome to another Fireside Chat with the PMFRC. We are so happy that you were able to join us this lovely day of May. Spring is here, and the PMFRC team is pretty excited about it. We're also pretty excited because May 2nd to 8th is Mental Health Week, and we really wanted to take this opportunity to introduce you to the PMFRC Mental Health Team. As with everything during the pandemic, so many of the things that we do have been behind the scenes, and a lot of our mental health team has been working so hard behind the scenes and virtually, and you really haven't had a chance to see them lately. We also have some new faces, so we wanted to take the opportunity to introduce the team and let you know who they are and what they do. I'm going to give them each an opportunity to introduce themselves when we get started, but I'm going to start with Claudia. Claudia, welcome back as always. Do you have any updates for us for business resumption? COVID is changing, restrictions are moving. What's new and exciting at the PMFRC?
I'll start by saying that we're starting to provide a wide variety of services to the community with one-on-one in-person sessions. So that's returned, although our in-person workshops and activities are still limited. Obviously, Play Truth is still a go, but some of the other stuff, we're just waiting to start that up for another little bit. But I do want to talk about three various levels of services that are available to the military and veteran family here at Garrison Petawawa. Our first level of service is all about information and awareness, and that's just making sure families are welcomed and are provided general information and are aware of the services that are available to them. Our information services team will be happy to assist families with in and out clearances, navigating their new community, or providing information that helps the family thrive here in Petawawa. Julie, I want to just take a shout out. Do you have the relocation kit handy with you to just show?
I do, in fact.
So I just want to do a shout out to anyone who is posted out this summer. Petawawa is one of the pilot locations for the new relocation kit initiative. And Julie is displaying them there. It really is a great resource for anyone who is moving out of the area. So if you want to learn more, all you have to do is reach out to Vera. Julie will have the contact information below for all of the contact people that we're going to talk about. Our second level of service is about navigational support. So this is a service available to families if they're dealing with anything specific, any specific military related challenge, whether it's about relocation, absence, or transitions. And our family navigators can support families with individualized navigational support for situations related to special needs, parenting support, deployments, francophone service, to name a few. And I think, Julie, we have another fireside chat scheduled later on to introduce the family navigators to the community as well. So stay tuned for that. And finally, our third level of service, which is really applicable to the team here today, and that's specific to providing services and access to our mental health supports. And this could be anyone needing crisis support, referrals to other community resources, counseling services for adults, couples, families, children, youth. And it also includes facilitating access to the Emergency Family Care Assistance Program if that's needed. So we take a very family-centric approach to all of our services. And I would just encourage that any family that needs to reach out if they have any questions or if they need any supports, that they should do so. And information is available on the CAF Connection website, but Julie will have our general information email below if you're feel more comfortable emailing your questions. I think that's it for my BRP update today.
So for all those updates and all those links, I'm going to put the information in the comments below so you can find it easily. Just a quick also mention for those relocation kits, they are available in English and in French. So if French is your first language and you will find it easier to get through those lists and sort of collect your thoughts in your first language, we do have that option as well. Olga, we're really excited to have your team here and to introduce some new faces. But before we start going through and introducing the team, one of the reasons we decided to do this week is it's Mental Health Week. The Canadian Mental Health Association sets aside 1 week every year where they really focus on mental health issues. And the theme this year is Get Real About How to Help. And they really talk about empathy as a way to support people who may be having some difficulties. Can you talk to us a little bit about that theme and the importance of empathy when you're trying to support people around you?
And you're absolutely right. This year, Canadian Mental Health Association has marked the first week of May as a Mental Health Week. And the theme of the campaign for this year is empathy. So it is important to practice empathy for others, and quite often that's what we're looking for. But we also need to remember that it's important to practice empathy for ourselves too. Practicing empathy can help us regulate our emotions, connect with others, and feel less isolated. Empathy allows us to think of others and look for different ways to help them. An act of kindness can go a long way. And when we do something good for others, it's quite often lift up not only their spirits, but also helping us to lift up our own. When time tough, and I think we're all dealing with it for the last few years, we need to be there for each other. And that's probably the main focus of campaign for this year. When someone is really struggling, you don't need to find a solution or fix their problem in order to help. You just need to be there. And sometimes the best way to help is to make people feel that they're seen and get heard. So if anybody wish to find more information about campaign for this year, they can go to CMHA website, and they have lots of information there, lots of helpful resources there, and it's very easily accessible. And Julie, I believe you are going to put information and link for CMHA.
I'm going to link to the resources for this week because there's some really great toolkits and some suggestion chips that people might find interesting. COVID has been tough for a lot of people, and we have been talking for the last 2 years. We've really been encouraging people to reach out if they need help, not to wait, not to think that, you know, it's going to get better if I just ignore it. But if people need help, to really reach out. Olga, can you talk a little bit about the mental health team, about the services that you offer and some of the helps and supports that we can provide to military families at the MFRC?
So like you see on the screen, we have a number of people who are part of the mental health team. So our mental health team is a multidisciplinary team, and all team members come from different educational and professional background, come from different experience and skill sets. We offer a broad spectrum of services to best meet our clients' needs and situation that they're facing. And mental health team is really key to meeting the unique needs of military family and removing barriers to mental health services. So our mental health team include social workers, registered psychotherapists, youth counselors, and family advocacy advisor. The mental health team offers support and counseling for broad spectrum of age. So we're working with adults, children, youth of the family members. If we're talking about services, we're offering individual, couples, and family therapy, and provide confidential advocacy and short-term support to guide families through difficult situations and to connect them with adequate and appropriate services in the community if we need to expand services. We offer different models of service. So we're doing single sessions where you don't need to necessarily have referrals. We offer in walk-in clinic, and in the last couple of years, our walk-in clinic offered
Not so much walking in.
Yeah, it was more virtual walk-in clinic, but it's still available. And again, you don't need to have a referral to enter this, but we're also offering ongoing support, and our services available in both official languages. So we're trying to accommodate as much as we can our clients, offering flexible hours, sometimes offering hybrid model of service. So we're slowly starting to see some clients face-to-face. We're still offering virtual sessions. And again, we're trying to just do our best to accommodate our clients. We also effectively link and networking with our community partners. And I think that's very important for us because we're able to offer more services or connect people with different services that are available in the community.
Because the military lifestyle is very unique. And I mean, oftentimes if you're facing barriers, it's hard to sort of go and explain to someone who doesn't understand what this life is and all that's involved. So being able to talk to people who really get what military life is, so you don't have to go through that background, can sometimes be a lot easier for folks that are already, needing a little bit of support. We have a lot of faces on the line. And as Olga said, there's a lot of people in different types of roles. So I'm going to let each of them talk about what it is they do, what their role is, and introduce themselves. We are going to start with CJ Cote. CJ, can you talk a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and your role as a family liaison officer?
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is CJ. I am a registered social worker. Prior to my arrival at the PMFRC 10 years ago now, can you believe it? I was a military nurse for 25 years. I'm the daughter of a soldier. I was the wife of a soldier. I became a soldier, and I became later on the mother of 2 soldiers. So my whole life has revolved around the military community in one aspect or another. When I came to Petawawa 10 years ago, I came here to provide support for my sons who were posted to the base. But I was fortunate to be able to be employed at the same time as providing that support. And I've been privileged to be able to support the families of ill, injured, and deceased soldiers for the past decade. As such, I've learned a great deal about the theme of this week, by the way. So as a family liaison officer, your role is to support uniform and medically released veterans, uniform soldiers that are ill and injured through the support that we provide to their family, their spouses, and their children. That also extends to family members that are directly involved with the ill and injured soldier or the deceased soldier or the veteran. So we've been very busy. Petawawa is a base that has seen a lot of operational tempo, most of which happened before I got here 10 years ago, and we're still seeing the effects of that a decade later. So yeah.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce Rhonda Marshall now. Rhonda is brand new to the team, so she is also a family liaison officer. So she has the same role as CJ, and we asked CJ to cover it off. Rhonda, welcome to the team. It is your first week. I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Okay, great. So I'm Rhonda Marshall. I've been in this area for approximately 6 years, and I just love it. I'm happy to be here, really excited to start this new role. I have a Master's of Arts in Counseling and Psychology, and I'm a regulated professional as a member of the Canadian Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario. I'm a mom and a wife, and I have 2 grown children. And I'm a brand new family liaison officer here.
Well, welcome. It is really nice to have you on board.
Thank you.
This is my first time meeting you, so it is great. It's great to see you. Debbie, you are also relatively new to the team, but Ron has got you a little bit beat. You are still relatively new to the team and new to your role. Can you talk a little bit about yourself and what it is you do at the MFRC?
So, hi, I'm Debbie. I am a registered psychotherapist. I'm a family counselor here with PMFRC and the mental health team. So I have Rhonda beat by a little bit. I've been here 6 weeks. So just enough time to get my feet on the ground and get to know the services that we offer. This is my second career. My first career was as a first responder, and then entering into psychotherapy as my second career. I am a military spouse, and I also grew up in the area. I wasn't a military child, but still grew up in the Ottawa Valley. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and we are currently in Kingston. We're posted to Petawawa this summer. So we're going through the posting process, which is a very unique military experience, right? So I understand the military side, spouse side of the world here too. I am really excited to be serving the military community here because it's such a unique situation, a unique experience as a military spouse and family member that I'm just thrilled to be able to lend my part to it. So for the role of the family counselor, we provide short-term counseling to military families, spouses, partners, children, dependents in Petawawa. And as Olga had said, that has different looks, whether it be single session walk-in or short-term counseling. Right now, because we're in the process of being posted, most of my work is remote via video or phone, but I am aiming to be in Petawawa at least once a week per month until we're posted in July, and then open to more and more in-person sessions.
Well, welcome. It is nice to have you on board on the team. If you want to learn more about Debbie, this week we just put up a Meet Me at the PMFRC. Once a month, we like to do a profile of the folks that are at the MFRC, so you can find out a little bit more about who they are behind the scenes and what experiences that they are bringing to the table. So we just posted one yesterday, so you can scroll back and meet Debbie if you're interested in that. I'll put that link underneath so you can find it. Kiera, welcome. It's nice to talk to you. Here to introduce yourself and talk about what it is that you do.
Hi, I'm Kiera. So I am the youth counselor here. I have lived in Petawawa for almost 5 years now. I'm a military spouse. I'm a mom of soon to be 2. Very, very soon. Hopefully not during this meeting. I've always worked with kids. That's kind of just been my whole career and what I've gone to school for. So I have a degree in adult development and family and child studies. And then also I just completed my Bachelor of Social Work, and I have a certificate in autism and behavioral science as well. So I've been working at the PMFRC for about 3 years now. And I work with military youth who are aged like 12 to 17. I offer services in the schools, so at Valor and at Bishop. And usually when we are in person, there is a military support group for military kids as well. So it's kind of nice because the students get to connect with one another and just have a space to talk about whatever they'd like to talk about. And through the school, there's also discretion, which is really nice. If you don't feel comfortable, maybe letting your family know that you want some support, you have that privacy there to access support without having to let anybody know, which is kind of nice. Just a safe space to check in. So a way that students can connect with me is they can refer through one of the school counselors or school social workers, and the referral gets sent to me, and then I connect with them. If it's not through the school, you can also be connected with me through Sam, our family advocacy coordinator. So she'll put you in touch with me. I can also offer sessions to include parents if there's some family struggles as well. That's always an option if the youth is open to it, which is really great. That's about it for me. It's just really nice to be able to work with military kids because obviously my kids will be going through all of the experiences. So it's kind of nice to get a jump start on what might be happening. And I'm a military spouse as well. So
thank you. Sam, that's a good segue over to you. Can you talk a little bit about your role as the family advocacy advisor? And also, you are the first point of contact for people who are looking for mental health support. Can you talk a little bit about what's involved in that process and what people can expect when they give you a call?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Julie. First, I want to say hello, everyone. My name's Sam. My pronouns are she and her. And yes, I am the family advocacy advisor. So as Julie mentioned, I am that first point of contact. And I'm so thankful that I get to work on this like team full of people that have all of these experiences because I'm constantly learning from them. So it's been wonderful to be part of this team. So reaching out for support, especially if it's for your mental health, can be extremely scary. You know, speaking from personal experience as well, it's very daunting. You don't know what's going to be next. You don't know who you're going to talk to. So it's been really exciting and helpful for people to know what they're going to expect. So when you reach out for support, you can reach out in a couple of ways. You can either call the main office on the north side. You can even email me, which Julie will share my contact information a little bit later. Or you can get referred from like Padre or anyone that is like a helping professional within the CAF community. So once you get in contact with me, I'll ask you a couple of questions just to make sure that this service that we have here is the right one for you. After I learn a little bit more about you and your family, I'll set you up with a single session with one of our lovely clinicians. And they will be able to, they'll be able to kind of flesh out what you're really looking for, work on those goals that you have. Once you're done that single session, if you feel like you're interested in maybe longer term support through that short-term support that we have, or a couple extra sessions, you know, just to put a bow on it, you can reach out to me again, and we would be able to connect you again to clinicians for a couple more sessions. So we're always open to, if you're interested in more sessions after that, always come back to us and we can always help you find either our services or even find services within the community that would be suitable for your needs as well. So part of my role, as well as the intake aspect, is kind of that service navigation piece. So if you're not sure where to go for mental health support, if you have a specific concern that you're looking to address, I would be able to then kind of support you in seeing what's in the community, or seeing other CAF supports that Claudia will talk about in a little bit. And yeah, so I can really be that person that just, if you have a question, please come to me. And if I don't know the answer, I will always try to find it for you.
Thank you. Sam is also new-ish to the team. So a couple of months ago, we did a meet me at the PMFRC about Sam. So if you want to learn more about her, I will put that link to the meet me at the PMFRC there. Typically with these sessions, the fireside sessions, we encourage people to reach out to us in the chat or to a direct message. I think in a case like this, if you are looking for mental health support, you can reach out directly to Sam and she would be more than happy to help you, and we'll have her email there as well. Olga, I'm going to circle back to you so you can talk about what it is that you do as the clinical manager, and maybe talk a little bit about yourself, something you didn't share in the first part.
Sure. So I'm registered psychotherapist, and same like Debbie, it's my second career. Many years ago, I started as a teacher, and over years, I went back to school and obtained my doctoral degree in psychology. And now I'm registered psychotherapist with College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario. I'm not very new to the mental health team or PMFRC. I'm with PMFRC now for 2.5 years, but majority of my experience happened virtually. So I'm very excited that now we're starting to meet people, meet staff, and have semi-normal connection with people. We can see people face to face. So if we're talking about my role as a clinical manager, I'm typically oversee and direct all aspects of clinical work of the mental health team, provide clinical supervision, consultation, and professional supervision to all staff on mental health team. My job also include to ensure the quality and consistency of the service that mental health team offering, and oversee the professional development trainings for our team members. Quite often I connect and collaborate with community partners, and most definitely administrative duties. So if we talking about my role, again, it's part of clinical work, but it also includes some admin things that typically happen behind the scene.
Thank you, Olga. A lot of people here, and thank you very much for taking the time to introduce yourself, and so much experience and background that this team is bringing to the table. And just wanted to remind everybody that each one is sort of pointing out the different college that they belong to. Just that professionalism and the confidentiality that comes along with that education, and people should know that when they are reaching out, these are professional clinicians that adhere to standards and are very well versed in the latest standards and have that rigor behind them. Claudia, I'm not going to make you introduce yourself, but the PMFRC is open during the week, 9 to 4, but we know that life doesn't always happen in that 9 to 4 timeframe. So there may be people who are watching and they're wondering what to do if they do need help outside of those hours on the weekend. What other services are available to military families beyond the folks on this team?
Well, like you said, as much as the whole PMFRC team loves their job and works really hard at supporting families, we're not 24/7. And we also believe in the opportunity for families to have a voice on a choice of options that are out there. So we've talked a lot about, we talk a lot about these additional support services. And I'll start by saying that no door is the wrong door. You can always come to us. We will always redirect you to whatever you're looking for, or provide some other suggestions that may also be beneficial to you. So, just reach out, connect with us. Even if it's not our services that you think you need, we're going to put you in touch with the right support service. So I'm going to start out by saying the list of what I'm going to go through. Julie will have the contacts in the comments, but the information is also on our website under the Contact Us section under Emergency Contacts. So there's several options for families who are looking for additional mental health supports. Families can connect directly with these services themselves. They do not need any referrals from anybody. First, we have the Canadian Forces Members Assistance Program. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 1-800 bilingual telephone service. 365 days a year. It's for Reg Force members, their immediate family, spouse, partner, dependent, children, same with the veterans as well. An appointment can be scheduled within 48 hours, and short and long-term counseling options are available. There is the Family Information Line. Counselors provide supportive counseling 7 days a week, 24/7, also bilingual, and all FIL counselors are well-versed in CAF communities and the services. So although they are based out of Ottawa, potentially, they're going to know what's going on in Petawawa, what the resources are, or, even if you're in Petawawa and you're reaching out to them because you're posted to Winnipeg or Comox, they would have that information for those bases there as well. And it's also bilingual and a confidential service. There is the new crisis text line for kids. Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services have partnered with the Kids Help Phone, True Patriot Love, and Lockheed Martin Canada to launch a crisis texting service for kids for military families living in Canada. It is a free service and can be accessed by texting the keyword CAF Kids at 68686. This is a service in English only right now. There's also the Strongest Families Institute. This service is available for children or youth between the ages of 3 and 17 who are experiencing behavior issues or anxiety. This service teaches skills through distance coaching, supporting families. It's over the phone or the internet, and done in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Finally, there's the Operational Stress Injury Social Support. Many of you know it as OSIS, and they provide a national peer support network for CAF members, veterans, and their families experiencing an operational stress injury. I think that's about it. All the information is available online, and Julie will have the links below.
Thank you, Claudia. Before we go, I want to sort of circle back to the theme and the idea of get real about how to help, and the idea of empathy. For those people who don't work in the world of mental health all the time, sometimes that's a tough concept to break down. So I'm going to go do a quick roundtable and ask each of you to give what's a concrete suggestion of something that somebody can actually go and do to support a family member, to support a friend who may need some support, and to provide that empathy. And I'm going to start with Rhonda. I'm going to let you lead off as the newbie.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have a bit of a different take that I wanted to talk about with empathy. So empathy is when we feel close to another person and we feel like we can relate to what it is they're saying. And the opposite of empathy is when we feel distant. When you feel distant, you're less likely to be empathetic. The other thing that happens with humans is that we tend to compare ourselves to others, and it kind of sets us up to be envious, because with us, what we do is we compare ourselves to others. We want to belong and we want to see that we're like others, but at the same time, we also want to think that we are a little bit better. And that's something that we can do. And what happens is that when you feel different from others, the downside is you have less empathy. And there's an interesting word I want to share with you. There's this German word, which is Schadenfreude. And Schadenfreude is an example of low empathy when you feel happy about somebody else's failure. Sometimes we can feel happy at somebody's failure because we might be envious. Sometimes we can join with other people to be happy about somebody's failure if you're dealing with collectively with maybe a difficult person. The thing with that, though, is you do get connection with others from that, but it's a low quality connection that you get with others. And it triggers your reward system. So you're rewarded, but you don't have a great, like I said, it's not a good way to connect. The other thing about it is it kind of assumes an inferiority because it comes from envying something you see that you don't have. And Brene Brown had something interesting to say about it. She said that she found herself when she was swimming, she'd be swimming in one lane and she'd automatically start competing with the person in the next lane. So then that could lead to feelings of envy, etc. And she found that the way that she could reach up and do better was to have empathy for the person in the next lane and sort of think to herself, hello, friend, you know, I hope you have a great swim. And that's kind of all of us reaching up, using empathy to fuel ourselves and also to build connection with others.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Yeah.
And again, welcome. Debbie, I'm going to go over to you.
So as I reflected on this concept of empathy, I thought to myself, you know, empathy can be really challenging for most people right now. Research has shown that up to 40% of Canadians have noticed a decline in their mental health since the beginning of the pandemic. And as we experience this decline, our capacity for others decreases. So empathy might feel more like a burden that we have to add to our already full plate. But for me, the basics of empathy start when I recognize that I'm reacting and I have reactions, and I'm able to take a small step back from the reactions of those around me. So I try to name my reactions and emotions I'm feeling to give myself a little more power over it and observe other reactions, other people's reactions in the same way, so that I have more of an empathetic understanding to what they're thinking and feeling in this moment too. So here, my goal is not to change my thinking to be completely directed to the other person and ignore myself, but to shift very slightly to at least comprehend that that other person is having an emotional existence and an emotional reaction. And that creates that, you know, baby steps of empathy, little steps that I have capacity for, even when I'm reacting. So just to kind of step back and look at it from the other person's experiences and reactions from a slightly different lens to create empathy and understanding, And like Rhonda said, creating connection, right? I'm able to connect, and if I can connect my feelings to what they're feeling, then that creates a deeper connection and deeper positive feelings for myself.
Thank you. Kiara.
I would say working with youth, one of the biggest things is, I think, obviously, because I'm older than them, they might think that I don't totally understand what they've gone through. So I'm always just open, like, yeah, I remember going through that as a teenager, like, you know, like the end of the world breakup or something like that. I've described like, yeah, it feels like this. And I've had youth say like, well, how do you know that? And I said, well, I've been through that too. I've experienced it. And they're like, but you're fine. I'm like, yeah, like, and you will be too. So I think just being really honest about if you've gone through something difficult and it's relatable, in working with youth, it just makes them more open and honest and willing to understand, like, you know, I can get through this. You actually do understand what I'm saying, which is really nice. And then another thing that I've noticed is youth being honest with their friends about getting counseling. And saying like, I've had a really difficult time too, and I've been seeing a counselor, like you should reach out. And I've had a youth bring a friend just to meet me and understand what counseling is like, so I could explain it to them. And even if I can't provide that youth support because maybe they're not military, I can connect them with the right person. And I found that to be really awesome, just that they're so honest about what they're going through and that they do talk to a counselor. So I think that just really shows that they're empathetic to their friend's situation and honest about their own. And yeah, they try to connect them with the right support, because they'll say, you know, I'm only 15, I don't really have the right advice, but I know someone who may be able to help you. So that would be my suggestion, is just being honest about your own struggles.
That is a very encouraging story about how maybe we're moving in the right direction, and people being more free to reach out. CJ.
That's a lot to build on. This is my take on empathy. You don't have to be a psychotherapist, a youth counselor, a social worker, a psychologist, excuse the cat, to be empathetic. Okay, she just wants to be on TV. So the piece of advice on empathy for non-social workers and non-psychotherapists, which I think is often missing from the reality of today, is meeting people where they are and holding space for their lived experience, not necessarily your lived experience. And we forget about that, you know, being authentic in the way that you provide that empathy, because people can smell a phony a mile away. So if you're going to be empathetic, be empathetic. And as my role as a flow, I was very fortunate when I came here 10 years ago to be sent on what they used to call a flow indoctrination. And part of that flow indoctrination is that they sat all the new flows in a room, and they had a panel of ill and injured soldiers that was being managed through the leader of the OSIS organization at the time, Operational Stress Support. And we were allowed to field questions to these ill and injured soldiers, and Mr. Martineau would direct that to the soldier that he felt would be less triggered answering those questions. And one of the gentlemen that was on the panel was asked, what is the one most important thing that you think flows need to know about ill and injured soldiers? And he gave us this beautiful metaphor of soldiers may all wear the same kind of uniform. And they may be all dragging a backpack. And what he implored us to do is to not assume that everybody's backpack and every family's luggage contains the same things. And being empathetic is to not make that assumption that everybody, because they're in the military, that they've had the same experiences. Often you will look at a bunch of soldiers and you will assume that they've all been on the same journey, but they did not have all the same childhoods. Their spouses didn't have all the same childhoods. So people come to the table, they come to you as a person with their lived experience. And being empathetic is making space for that lived experience, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you. Sam.
So something that I kind of heard from everyone's shared, like their little story that they shared, was that you don't necessarily have to go through what the other person has gone through in order to feel empathy. Really, if you're trying to get real about empathy, a way that you could do that is really try to remember in your own mind when you felt the same way that someone else felt. Maybe that's in a really dark place or feeling really lost or helpless. And that can kind of sort of help you respond more empathetically towards the person, because you don't necessarily have to go through that specific thing, but having that experience of feeling, you know, alone or ashamed might be able to support the other person and being honest and real, like Kira said. Something else that I find really important when we're getting real about mental health is, like Kira said, be honest about what you're experiencing, because the more that we hide it, the more that we don't share these things, we kind of create this like little shame bubble and we keep all of these things to ourselves. And it can be really, really isolating. And so, you know, being honest and being empathetic to yourself and saying, you know what, I need to tell someone I'm struggling. Like, this is too much for me to carry by myself. Can be really empowering. So that's kind of where I look at what empathy is and how it also connects to shame and, you know, feeling that isolation as well.
Thank you. Olga.
Well, like you can see, we have different angles how we're looking on empathy, and that's what makes us as a strong team, because we bring in different point of view, we bring in different inputs. So for me, I'm probably would like to focus more on have empathy for ourselves. We can make our life much more difficult if we set unrealistic goals and expectations for ourselves. So if we want to practicing self-compassion and manage expectation, it will be part of being kind to ourselves and show empathy for ourselves. And if we're talking about a different example, what can you do? Well, talk to people, and not just about weather, but have meaningful conversation. Try something new, check your bucket list and maybe pull out something from there. Be present and pay attention to what's going on around you. Stay in the moment. So basically practice mindfulness. And even these few small suggestions can make you feel a little bit better if you're starting to do this more often.
Claudia, I'm not going to ignore you, but I know that we've gone through and we've a lot of the suggestions might have already been there. And I know for myself, sort of watching the folks on the team, I feel I've gotten a lot out. Is there anything that you want to add, or do you want to talk about how encouraging it is to see so many great faces around the table and here to help our families?
I'm going to do both.
Well, you go then.
I don't have that mental health background, but I would say that, you know, we all face our challenges a little bit, what CJ said, in different ways. So I would just say that be that active listener for whoever needs it at the time. Give them your full attention and acknowledge that what they're feeling is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. If you give them that emotional support, your trust in sharing their story and the encouragement, sometimes that's all they need. So, you know, that's, I think, what I have done with friends who I see struggling, or people that walk through the door that just need an ear. And I think that would be my perspective on that. As far as having everybody around the table, I think this is the first time that we have the mental health team in this capacity on a fireside chat. And I want to thank you all very much for joining us. Rhonda, welcome to the team. It's really good to see you. And thank you for playing along with us on day 2, I think, of your journey, and we really appreciate you doing that. Kira, it's great that we were able to do this with you before you head off, and welcome baby number 2. We still have a couple of new staff that will be joining us soon, and stay tuned for their meet me at the PMFRC. And you guys really do amazing work, and I can't express how appreciative I am of the wealth of knowledge and experience that is around the table here to support the families at Garrison Petawawa. You guys do an amazing job, and I think we're very lucky to have you all on the team. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. On that note, we will sign off. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If one of the things that is stressing you out is relocation, give us a call. We might be able to help with some of the practical elements of that. And then the team can sort of help you with the other issues. But if in terms of practical tools, we may have a solution for you.
Or deployment. I
Or
know
deployment.
Wayne likes to go. So if you're struggling with deployment, reach out. We have a lot of resources for those families currently dealing with a deployment or an absence because of training or exercise. So
at the end of the day, reach out. Don't sit there and not get the help that you need because you're afraid of bothering us. This is what we do, and we really want to help. So give us a call. All the contact information is going to be there. Thanks, team, for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.